Welcome into Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. It is Tuesday, January 6th, and we're here to talk about the National Football League, the college football playoffs, all of that. As usual, we are presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I'm Geoff Schwartz alongside Gabe Goodwin. Gabe, we have a lot to get to. We're recording a little bit later than usual. Thank you for making some changes to my schedule. Most importantly, you're looking at the new 10U girls softball coach. Me and you, Gabe, we can spend our spring talking about our coaching adventures. Looking forward to that. But more importantly, we're watching some football. How you doing, buddy?
Is it more important? Let's get a little bit here. You're the 10U coach down there in North Carolina.
Yeah,
How you feeling,
yeah.
coach?
We're gonna run the bases. We're gonna run
Okay.
the bases. We're
Yeah.
gonna be aggressive base
Gotta
running.
be.
We're gonna use game changer. We're gonna update a little bit of technology in the
Okay.
softball league a little bit because my son gets to have game changer and his video, his games recorded, and
Yeah.
we don't even have game changer. We're gonna make some changes there. Emmy's looking forward to it. I don't want to do the administrative stuff, but I'm looking forward to all of it. I've never been the head coach. I was assistant coach last year. I mean, I coached some games by myself because she wasn't there or coach. But yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, I'm going to give you a segue here. Be careful, Jeff, because even a great coach, and I suspect you're a great coach. I bet you know how to manage a game. You can quickly get out over your skis when you start trying to manage too many parts of a team, right? And that seems to be potentially what took place here in Baltimore. One of the best coaches we've each seen. Maybe he was taking his eye off the ball. Maybe he was involving himself in too many personnel discussions. Maybe he should have just focused on getting his special teams ready and his team would be a playoff team. Instead, here we are watching one of the most ridiculous meltdowns to the final game of the year that I've ever seen. So, Jeff, use him as a cautionary tale. Just focus on what you can control. Win games by coaching up your players.
Are we talking about the Ravens missing a kick to end the season, Gabe? Is that what we're going with here?
That is, I thought, pretty clearly where I was going with
Uh,
that. Yes.
well, so it's the dynamic of how different it can be. Like, so obviously Ravens missed a kick to lose the game.
Yeah.
And then on the same weekend, Jacksonville's kicker makes a 67-yard field goal with room to spare. Like, it is wild, the difference. And Loop has had a good season, but those big moments we focus on a little bit more. The one thing I find so interesting about when kickers miss a kick, Gabe, I just don't get it. Is everyone's like, oh, the poor kicker, man. No one says that to me when I had a sack I gave up. Oh, poor Geoff Schwartz. Why do so much sympathy for kickers, Gabe? Because it's the spotlight is so bright on them. He had a job to do. He didn't do it now. The reason they lost the game, I mean, you can make that case, I guess. Final play of the game, he missed it. They got him in field goal range. There's reasons they lost that game. I mean, when Hamilton went out, the defense fell apart for the Ravens. But the fact is, like, I don't get why we are so like, oh, poor guy. Oh, he missed a kick. Like, why do we do that? We do that with no other position.
Okay. First of all, Jeff, there's only one thing I've said to you
No,
consistently for
you
5
are
years.
different.
I can't.
Being
I
kickers.
don't know why would anyone ever say that? You're asking me rhetorically. I don't have any good answer for you, and I would just like to just take one little mini victory lap. If Hank can pull up our banned topic list, this was a bit
He has,
controversial on the show. When
he's got to stop eating a spicy teriyaki lunch.
he's
To
eating
get us
lunch right now, when he gets around to it, he's going to put up the ban list,
There we
and
go.
you will notice about 5 names down. It made no sense at the time, but your boy here said, put Tyler Loop on the ban list. I do not want to talk about the Ravens kicking situation ever this season. And here we are ending the season with him.
I gotta say, our band topics, we have to remove one of them for the postseason. That's a pretty good,
Great
like,
list.
a great list to have. What do we got? 13, top of my head. I think it's 13. And only one of them we have to remove. We have to remove Trevor Lawrence for the postseason. I think it has to be. I think Jacksonville might actually make it far in the postseason. We could talk about all of that in a few minutes. But our ban list held pretty strong. The Colts,
Beautifully.
right? The Colts not in the playoffs. We banned them. We banned a dog and Carson Wentz and the Dolphins as well.
Florida's whole
Uh,
program.
Florida's whole program. The Jets, good to ban the Jets, who somehow bring their coach back, even though they lost 5 straight games by at least 23 points or more. What a great list! What a great list we did this year.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it in a minute. I think we're going to have to unban. You're right about Trevor Lawrence, much to our chagrin. We do have to talk about him a lot this postseason. We're probably also going to have to unban Tush Push discourse because I think the Eagles are going to play the most interesting game of the weekend. But let's
Hmm.
let's center the conversation here for a minute on the AFC. And so the Steelers are in, the Ravens are out. First, I want to know, do you think the Ravens, like, what's the offseason going to be for them? Where are we headed with this?
Yeah. So the article comes out in the Baltimore Sun that the Ravens are sort of fed up with Lamar Jackson.
Hmm.
And I thought after that article was very clear that he was gone and Harbaugh was going to stay. Then he played week 18. He played really well. He didn't throw the ball a ton, but he made some big throws, made some big runs. And I think they both come back with understanding that this is the last year to make it work. The coaches have probably been fired who are being fired, right? I think there's 6 so far, maybe 7. Maybe we'll see the next couple of days. No rush in the NFL to fire coaches. And Lamar is, you're not trading Lamar, right? I mean, you just can't trade Lamar after that performance. But I think there are actual questions about not Lamar's commitment, but the things that they worried about in the article, I think are legitimate things that they're concerned about as an organization. They wouldn't let people know that unless they felt a certain way, want to get that out there. I think they would like him to probably, it sounds like it. Again, I'm not in the building. I don't know. Be more committed to taking sure you're healthy and you're able to play each and every game. Look, our pal Nick Wright brought this up on his podcast, right? Like that Lamar gets a flu every year. It's actually, I thought about that's true. Right? Every year he gets the flu. Why is he getting the flu every year? Like those are tiny little things that I think in the end matter for overall like health and wellness. And I know you guys think it's crazy to say something like that, but it's true. Look it up. He gets the flu every year. Why does Josh Allen not get the flu every year? Like that type of stuff. I think the Ravens actually want him to change about the way he prepares to play, but you can't get rid of him. Not getting rid of Harbaugh. It just feels like they're just rolling along with it.
All right. My job here is to throw kind of the internet and fan takes at you, and without really a whole lot of research. And good news, all I am is a fan, and I haven't done any research. So here goes. If I called the Ravens and I said, "Hi, it's me, Gabe, with the Jets. I got the number 2 pick. I don't know how to draft quarterbacks, so I shouldn't use this pick. I'll screw it up. But I'm happy to trade it to you for your quarterback. We can come up with a package. Maybe I'll even give you next year's first as well. It should be a good one." Are we having these conversations this offseason? Is this going to be a storyline that continues around Baltimore? Because I feel like they have to pick up the phone if those kind of calls come.
Well, the question is, what do they want to do quarterback, right? That's the most important thing. So the second pick in the draft game, if Dante Moore doesn't come out, there's no other quarterback to take it to. So you can make the case that we spend a year and we go get, I don't know, Malik Willis for a year. We get someone for a year and try to bridge it over for a season, and then we next year we get a draft pick. Or I can't imagine the Ravens want to have a bad 3 and 14 season, right? John Harbaugh won't survive a 3 and 14
No.
season. So there's just not a lot of great options right now at quarterback. That's why Lamar, when you look at the draftable players, the possible free agents, the possible trade candidates, the best player is Lamar of those guys, Gabe. That's the best player of all those guys. And so if it was a strong quarterback year and the second pick was CJ Stroud, yeah, great. But that's not what the quarterback draft is, right? If Dante Moore doesn't come out, there is one first round pick. It probably now there might be more because that the position's so important. I will tell you though, this is not a hot take, but it sounds like it is. If Arch Manning were to come out, he'd be number 2. He'd go number 2 in the draft.
Are we still entertaining that possibility? Doesn't seem
He's
like it.
coming back, but I think that people have underestimated how much better he played the back half of the season and how much NFL teams draft off potential and traits, not production. I think he'd be a top 5 pick if he went out in this draft this year. He might be top 5 next year. That's why he's coming back. But if Dante Moore doesn't come out, Arch doesn't come out, there's no one really to draft it to. So maybe you make that trade and you trade out of 2 because someone wants Caleb Downs or Reese or wants one of the pass rushers. You just kind of get enough ammo to eventually trade back up next season into the position you want. But I can't see the Ravens doing that right now because the options at quarterback just aren't great.
Okay. First of all, I'd just like to point out that for the last few weeks, even when Hank is making excuses for doing a bad job behind the scenes, he's real quick at hitting that hook 'em lower third that pops up for the YouTube viewers. Real quick on that. Oh, yeah, there it is immediately.
Is that
Said he'd be
programmed
delayed
in?
on everything he does today, but he gets that thing done within a second. Okay, so that's just point number one. Point number two, I did not expect us to get here, but now I need to spend a minute on it. If I'm Arch Manning or the Manning Empire,
Yeah.
I want to be coached by Harbaugh. And if I'm Harbaugh and I see Lamar go somewhere else, and now I've got a project in a rookie quarterback, and I can get him at 2 by trading with the Jets, I'm not getting fired if that doesn't go well, and I
Yeah,
might
but
get
the,
6 or 8 more years out of it. So what? Well, that seems like a great
well, what?
idea.
Yeah, but what if the Jets want Arch at 2?
Okay, but I mean, I'm talking about we're talking backroom dealing here. Somebody's got to know that Arch is
So
coming
so
out. But,
so the backroom deal is that Arch will come out
mhm.
if the Jets trade
Yeah, get
the
out of
second
2.
pick to the Ravens.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
You think there's some people in our
I
industry who could make a
I'm not
call and
I'm
let Baltimore
I'm
know
not in
that's a
that
possibility?
I'm not in those fun meetings. I know you have those meetings all the time
Oh
in
yeah,
those type of rooms for
that's right.
which you do all the time. I don't have those fun meetings, so um, I don't get the meetings where like the Jewish committee decides all the world's
Oh, you
things
don't
that
get
people claim that we
those
do.
invites?
No, do you get those? When people are like, "You guys control the weather." I'm like, what invite do I get for that? Where's
Yeah.
my invite? I want to be part of the weather controlling committee. It's too
Come
cold
to
here in
LA
Charlotte.
for the last 3 weeks if you think that. It's not what anyone was wishing for.
I don't get to go in these. Matt is going to come to the Super Bowl, I think, for a couple of days, maybe.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about whether I'm going to go or not. He's like, dude, like we can meet some people. I'm like, I don't go to fun meetings. I don't. That's why I don't go anymore. Like I don't really like do the fun meetings anymore because no one invites me to them. So I just like stopped going. I'm going to go probably for a day because Debbie, my agent, wants me to go, but like I don't get to do fun meetings, Gabe, anymore. Maybe I passed that point in my career of doing fun meetings.
Well, okay. I'm half teasing about how this behind the scenes could work, but it's not like the Mannings have no history with sort of dictating where one of their guys is
Uh,
going to get
uh,
drafted. Like this is a
Correct.
thing they've done. So I don't know. You opened up a door here. I stepped through it. I think that the Ravens are going to be an interesting team to watch all offseason. Let's flip to the winners though. And even though I think a lot of fans who are delusional in Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh Steelers fans in general were kind of hoping for failure so that Tomlin would be out so that they could, I guess, get to some better place. I don't know what they were hoping for. Well, he won again. He's in. It's going to be hard to get rid of that guy after stumbling into the playoffs. They could even win in the first round against Texans, right? So, what do you make of
No.
the Steelers and where they're headed? And did they just buy themselves a few more years of Mike Tomlin, whether they want it or not?
Yes. The it feels like the Steelers are at a point where they're just happy to be in this spot every year where they make the playoffs and then just don't have any success past like they thrive on making the playoffs with no way to actually win a championship. DK Metcalf coming back helps them, right? But to me, there are certain franchises that the goal is Super Bowl, not just making the playoffs, right? Like I'm gonna throw your Jets team astray here. Like the Jets' goal should be making the playoffs. Like that should be their goal. That should be their goal. The Steelers' goal is winning Super Bowls. That's the Steelers, and they're gonna lose to Houston and not have won a playoff game now in 9 seasons. Is that what the Pittsburgh Steelers are? A non-playoff winning organization? And so sometimes they make hard decisions. Now, this year is not a great year for coaching candidates. So I sort of understand Pittsburgh deciding not to make that happen. But I, I I think at some point you have to acknowledge like this is what you get every year. You get 9 or 10 wins. You don't win playoff games. Is that what you want your franchise to be? I guess they're fine with it. And I think they want to be known as a franchise that doesn't fire coaches, right? They don't fire, which they don't. They don't fire coaches at all. But it does feel like this is probably going to be their team every year.
Okay, fair enough. So then let me make it not about Pittsburgh. Do you think that a few teams that maybe feel like they're able to become a relevant team again are just waiting for them to lose and so that they have a shot at Mike Tomlin? Like, are the Giants, are the Falcons, we'll get to some other coaching carousel stuff later. Like, are there teams just waiting and hoping that Mike Tomlin gets fired so they can call him that second?
I think the executives at Fox and CBS and ESPN are waiting for Mike Tomlin to retire,
Hmm.
and then he'll be on the set somewhere wherever he decides to go.
You think
So
he does a year off and then plays,
I think
comes
so.
back? Okay.
I think so. I think he'd be really good at that,
He'd be
obviously.
excellent.
Um, by the way, this we're at the point now where we got to have some boundaries, right? With the broadcaster front office
Yeah,
pairing
it's
that we
getting
have
weird.
happening right now. So I am contractually obligated to not mention one of the guys, but Matt Ryan now supposedly is going to be the president of the Falcons and also wants to keep calling games on CBS. How is that allowed? How are you allowed to talk to the other teams, go meet with them, learn about them, have background calls with them, and then also run another franchise at the same time? Like, look, the Tom Brady thing. He is a tiny minority owner in the Raiders. Like he might do a lot as far as putting his name out there for what's actually happening in the building. We don't know what he's actually doing, but he's not an actual front office member, right, Gabe? Matt Ryan wants to be the front office president of the Falcons and also can call games on CBS. You can't do those two jobs. You can't. The Tom Brady thing I sort of get. He's just a part-time owner. Like he's like Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson throws his name on all these. He owns the Dodgers and part of this franchise, but he doesn't. Not really. He just puts his name on stuff, right? He owns a tiny sliver at. It's Magic Johnson, right? He puts his name on it. It's a big hubbub. Like he's a good business person, great business person. It's good to have in the building. That feels like what Tom is doing here, but now he's just adding a little bit more of like we're helping out in the front office. Like, do you really think John Spytek and Mark Davis in the end are going to choose Tom Brady's candidate over anyone else? I don't think so.
Well, I don't want to go down that wormhole. I actually thought when you brought this topic up, I thought you were going to name the third guy,
Who's the third?
the A-lister for another big network who is now reportedly going to help the Dolphins figure out who their
Oh,
next
I've heard
front office
Aikman.
guy.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Troy Aikman.
So Aikman's being used as a consultant, right? Which is, I guess,
Yeah.
a little fancy word to not be like full time.
Right.
He's just helping them with his coaching search, right? Like he's done. Aikman's done for the season. No, they
I
have one
believe
game
it's a
this
GM
weekend.
search. I don't think it's a coaching search.
Oh, GM search. He has one game this weekend on Monday, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it for ESPN. So okay, so fine. In the offseason, if you want to help pick a coach, like be my guest. But you to be the president of football operations and also call games on CBS at the same time feels like that should not be allowed. I'm not sure they're allowing that to happen. But also, again, like if you're Tom Brady and you are in meetings with the Raiders personnel department, coaches during the week, and then also calling games. I know he's not allowed in the building and all this stuff, but I just think that's a conflict of interest, man, that we just shouldn't let happen.
Yes, agree. I would think with Matt Ryan, if Matt Ryan brought this to the executives where he's working and said, "Here's what I'm thinking," I would just go like, "Okay, Matt Ryan, go do that. We're good.
Yeah,
Like
I
we'll
think
get someone else to call
yeah,
these games."
I think that network would be less inclined to do it than some of the other ones that would be okay doing the sort of the split thing there. So, nonetheless, interesting development where Troy Aikman's helping the Dolphins, Matt Ryan's helping the Falcons supposedly, and then Tom Brady's helping hire a coach. Look, that's what they're saying in Vegas right now.
Yeah. All right. Let's stay in the AFC, but get to
Yes.
maybe the better teams than the Steelers and the Ravens. Um, I was kind of surprised, to be honest, to see that after this great run that they've had, especially the whole second half, that Jacksonville's hosting the Bills. The 3 is hosting the 6, and the Bills are pretty big favorite from the number I saw. You might have to help me
Yeah.
out with the latest. I so
No,
fine.
they're not
The
big.
Bill
They're not a big favorite. They're just a road favorite. Yeah.
they're a road favorite in the playoffs against a
Yeah.
3 seed. Like that's weird. Um, so I wondered, okay, fine. That's because Jacksonville, I think, is just not taking that seriously for a number of reasons. But are they just going to be the favorite no matter who they play then? Like that just tells me the market is
Well,
saying that Bills are the best team in the AFC.
I think Jacksonville beats them, so that'll be the end of the road for Buffalo.
Whoa. Weren't they one
I
of your
don't.
Super Bowl picks at one point? What's going on here,
Yeah,
buddy?
they're not anymore.
Oh,
I so conflicting thoughts here, right?
right.
One is that the postseason feels to me to be a quarterback coach tournament, right?
Yes.
And Josh Allen's the best quarterback that's left in the AFC. Drake May's had a good season, we know, right? Trevor Lawrence had a good season, but Josh Allen's the best quarterback.
Yep.
His coach is not the best, though. I think we've seen in many big games is not the best now. Again, I don't know who the best would be. Would it be Vrabel? Would it be Sean Payton? I guess could be in that mix.
Mike
The
Tomlin,
re-
but okay.
the rest, sure, Mike Tomlin. The rest of the AFC though is so uninspiring. So Denver needs to beat the Chargers who are playing their backups to secure a 1 seed. They don't score one offensive touchdown. New England had the easiest schedule in 25 years. All right. Then you have Jacksonville. You have Pittsburgh, who no one believes in. Houston, who's coming along strong, but their offensive line really concerns me. The Chargers, who are just beat to shit, and the Bills. Like, it's not an inspiring group of teams. I could argue that every contender has a really fatal flaw, right? Look, again, the Patriots have played no one. Like, that's their flaw. Like, they just, when you set up in competition, it's just so much harder. We see it year after year after year, college and the NFL. Denver's flaw is their quarterback. Just not good enough, in my opinion, to win a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh, the whole offense is just not, and the defense hasn't been as good this season. Houston's offensive line, the Bills' run defense, the Chargers' injuries. Jacksonville has the least, Gabe. Jacksonville is like a legitimately good team right now. They're playing good football. They're good on defense. They run the football well. Lawrence has removed a lot of mistakes from his game. And it feels like they're the team, I think. Now, they got to go on the road and play some cold weather games, which probably isn't great for a warm weather team. But there's a situation where the Chargers, they beat the Patriots, which I think can certainly happen. Then the Chargers go play the Broncos. Jacksonville gets a second home game, and they get to play, Pittsburgh or Houston,
Yep.
and then, go to Denver maybe or host it, whatever it is. I think Jacksonville's that team, man. They have voodoo. They have to, franchise voodoo. They have to get over to win these games, in my opinion. But they're playing good football. And I sort of do trust their coaching staff. I trust their defense, trust their run game. And as long as Trevor Lawrence, and he's done a much better job of this, doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't make stupid plays, they got a chance to win.
Okay. Well, we've seen them win some crazy games. It's hard to argue with the stats from Lawrence down the stretch. The new coach, fun story. I mean, I guess I said it a couple weeks ago. Like, until they've done it, I can't bet on them doing it. And
That's the entire division. That's the entire AFC though. The entire AFC is that way.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, we do have an entire field of teams we previously would have said one and done in the playoffs, but they can't all be one and done. You can't have 7 teams that are like, they got in, but they're going to lose. So someone will emerge. So Jacksonville, that's an interesting play. So are you sprinkling a little, like, hedging some bets? Are you covering yourself this way?
I did Jacksonville to win the AFC at 650.
Okay. When did you do that?
Yesterday.
When you saw the field? Yeah. Okay. If the Bills get past them, they're your favorite the whole way through, or no?
No, I just don't trust their defense.
Okay.
Just don't like it. I don't think it's good enough.
All right. Wow. Well, any other AFC thoughts you want to share, or should I switch gears over to the NFC? Because there's probably some more interesting teams there.
The NFC is a little more interesting, but also a lot of teams with flaws.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about what sort of feels to me, again, uninformed fan take coming. I see the NFC Championship game as being wild card weekend. I think Eagles-Niners, those are the 2 teams I trust most to make it to the NFC Championship game, but they got to play the opening weekend, so one of them's out. Convince me that the Seahawks or the Rams are better than either of those teams. The Rams, look on your face is telling me a lot.
Yeah, the Rams are winning the NFC.
Okay.
They're the best team in the NFC. Yes, they lost the Eagles. They're up 28-7 and lost, or 26-7. They lost the Rams, the Seahawks recently. They're up 30-14. So those are not good results in the end. But I think when the Rams are playing their best football, they're the best team in the NFC. They have the least amount of flaws, in my opinion, right? So Seattle, to me, has a Darnold problem. Like, they just don't trust that guy. And we saw even when they play the Niners, it's just not good enough, right? 13 points against that defense. 3rd and long, they're calling screen passes and runs and just things to not make Darnold score. Now, you can make the case that because their defense is so good, it's a prudent decision to say, let's not let our quarterback mess this up. But I don't think I trust him very much. Chicago's not good. Like, they're just not. They're not this good. Philly's offense. They play Niners team this week that can't play defense because of the injuries. Their offense has to show up this week. Philly's offense has. I need to see something, but they've been going downward trajectory. Can they turn it on right now? I don't think so. I don't think they can. Lane Johnson should be back, but their offense coordinator just is not a good offense coordinator. You look down the list, right? So the Panthers, they're not winning the Super Bowl. The Niners, I mentioned, are different. The Packers, what are the Packers, man? What are the Packers? They're the least scary playoff team. Nothing scares you about the Packers whatsoever. But they're playing a Bears team who doesn't scare me either. Like that game feels like a field goal game in either direction. And by the way, the sports books are telling you how they feel about these games because they're all mostly within a field goal, right? The one obviously that's not is the game here in Charlotte between the Rams and Carolina, but it's 1.5, 1.5, 4.5. That equals to a lot of money. 5.5, excuse me, 3.5. I can't read for Chargers. 3 now for Houston. So these spreads are telling you these games are going to be very close if you adjust for home field, right? Like those numbers come down maybe even more a little bit. So there's odds are telling you that they don't feel great about a lot of the teams playing this weekend and or their 50-50 games. Right now, the favorite to win Super Bowl is the Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams don't even have a bye, dude. They have to go in the losers bracket essentially 3 straight weeks. They play 3 straight road games to get to the Super Bowl, and they have the second best odds to do so.
Yeah. Okay. Can I propose to you the exact logic you used for the Jaguars?
Yes.
Just close your eyes. Now apply that logic to the Bears. Why doesn't it hold up?
No. The Bears are not as good on defense. They're not as good on offense. They're just not good.
Okay. What else do they have to do? I'm convinced. And by the way, the Bears made a Super Bowl not that long ago with who was it? Rex Grossman? Like, come on. Things happen. You get in a weak field and you make it.
No. The Bears had the number 1 defense that year. They don't have number 1 defense right now. The defense is like 22nd in DVOA. They're not good defense. They rely solely on turnovers. You cannot rely on that in the postseason. That's not a way to generate good defense and reliable defense in the postseason.
Okay. Well, I would say they'd be relying on the greatest playmaking quarterback I've ever seen up close and personal, and a guy who's ready to break out on an NFL big stage. But you can say that they would be relying on defense, and that's not the case.
A USC guy you have a lot of faith in. Interesting.
Yeah, you know what bummed me out, by the way?
What?
And this can be a tease for what we'll get to later. It bothers me to see Zachariah Branch as a or one of the top wide receivers expected to be taken in the draft. It bothered me to see him in a Georgia jersey, and it really bothers me to think that someone's going to spend a first-round pick on that guy after he left.
The portal has changed a lot of things in college football, and it's interesting because of how quickly you just lose your loyalty for someone because they leave, right? Like you have someone you like, and all of a sudden they leave, and you're like, "F this guy, I'm not rooting for him anymore." And I think it's right to feel that way. So at USC, I did bet on the Lady Bruins the other night. It was a profitable wager for me.
Very, very obvious bet
Yeah,
to me.
profitable wager. I just was randomly looking at so yeah, 17.5. Yeah, I'm fine with that number. So good
They had
to win
in the first half.
To win a women's college basketball wager is always a good one to win when you can. All right, let's take a break and do some college football.
Yes, we'll sneak in some NFL coaching carousel as well, but yes.
All right, we're back. We'll do college football in just a second here, Gabe. Coaching carousel. We have Titans off the top of my head, right? Titans, Giants, Browns, Falcons, Arizona is available now as well, and the Raiders. That's 6 so far, and there could be more as well coming forward. The oddest thing so far about this on the internet, not just these firings all make sense in why they happened, is this loud Shadur Sanders group that is like openly celebrating Kevin Stefanski being fired without realizing that this is actually the worst thing that could happen to Shadur Sanders because a new coach is going to come in and have no ties to him whatsoever. And even if Stefanski did not want to draft him, there's at least a little bit of a connection there. And the new coach is going to come in with no connection to Sanders. And actually, in my opinion, that's actually less playing time for him, less opportunity for him to succeed. It's a weird thing where just like there's this, and one of the Browns' wives got on the internet and like subtweeted the Kevin Stefanski's firing. Just a odd organization, man. It's just not great right now in Cleveland. But that's 6 so far. It sounds like we might get a couple more, maybe. Dolphins potentially. There's no rush in the NFL to fire coaches. No recruiting to be done.
Right. Uh, okay. Well, I don't personally think too many of the names that have been let go are all that interesting as replacements elsewhere, other than Stefanski. Like I think if he's out, then obviously somebody would pick him up, right?
I think Stefanski's. I think out of all the coaches that got fired right now, Stefanski's the most likely to get a job next year as a head coach. And like that's the thing about like people are like, why you look? There's an internet. It's just the internet, right? Like no one in real life talks like this about like how why was Stefanski? The tweets I've gone about my Stefanski tweet where I said he'd be hired immediately are just like the worst internet you could imagine, right? Um, but the reason why Stefanski would be hired again, he's the most successful Browns coach since they returned to Cleveland.
Yeah.
For the Browns, like he's been a good coach. This year was a shit show because he didn't have quarterbacks, and they still managed to win 5 games. I think, like it's it, yeah, like it. He's a good coach. He'll be hired immediately, and there are teams like the Giants who are very clearly wanting a former head coach, whether it's Mike McCarthy or Stefanski, to be their guy. So I do believe that Stefanski will have a job quickly, and it's going to be a team that wants their offense to improve.
I would predict that he'll have a job before he even needs to trim that beautiful beard of his. Before that thing gets a little too unruly, and they get unruly. Mine's getting close. He'll be back in business. That's my
I
prediction.
think so too. He's a good coach. I think he'll crush anywhere else he's been.
Yeah. Pete Carroll, I think that's the end of the road, right?
Yes, retirement.
Or he'll take a TV gig somewhere, I'm sure.
I don't think Carroll's a TV guy. Do you?
He's a good talker. He's fun. People like him.
USC should hire him as like a consultant of like some sort. Bring him back on campus.
Look at you. You're giving me such easy segues. What about Cliff Kingsbury? What in the hell are we supposed to make of him like stepping away, mutually agreed upon? He had this position with the Commanders and then he's just out. And where's he
Well,
going?
essentially fired him and the defensive coordinator, the offensive line coach. They just said it mutually parted ways, so it didn't sound like he was fired.
Sure, but where's he going?
So I'm surprised his name was not linked to more jobs this offseason before this news came out. Since it's come out, everyone's been like, oh, he'll get an interview here, get an interview there, get an interview there. I would imagine he's not a head coach this cycle and becomes an OC somewhere else again. I mean, he was good until Daniels got hurt. You know, they were really good last season, but Daniels just got hurt and it kind of derailed. I don't, there's no college job available for him at the moment. Maybe he does that senior analysis role on Kirby Smart's team. Like, Nick Saban for years had like the guys would come in for 1 year and do the rehab assignment and then go out somewhere else. Maybe he does that. He doesn't need that, I don't think. But maybe he's OC somewhere else. I don't know, but he's not in Washington anymore. That's very clear.
Okay. Well, then let's go to college football, the thing we've been waiting to talk about.
These jobs, I'll tell you what, man, like my wife's cousin was over a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about how much college coaches make, right?
Yeah.
And, they make, Kirby's making 13 and Lincoln's making 13. Those top guys like Cinetti's making 11 and a half. And they were blown away by it. They were like, what? So like, why aren't you coaching? I'm like, I don't want to coach. It's just too much time commitment. They're like, well, how much would you make if you're an offensive line coach? I'm like, I mean, college offensive line coach with experience, I don't know, $1 million. Like you're making decent money. They're like, well, you have to go do that right now. Oh yeah. You're probably making $1 million.
$1 million for a college offensive line coach? Where? Yeah. Which college is that?
I'm talking about like if you're like at the top of your profession, yeah, I think that's what you're making.
Watch this test, see if Hank is paying attention. You mean like at Texas? If you were at Texas, would you make that much?
Yeah,
as an
like Flood was there. Okay, so like here we go. So
he fell asleep at the wheel. He's not paying attention.
Okay, so like here's an example. So in let's see here. I think this is the story. So Oregon's offensive line coach is 30 years old. Elite Terry
Mm.
is supposed to make 900 in 2025.
Oh my! Why aren't we
Yeah.
talking about this more?
So that was let's see here. Yeah, I think that's what it says here.
Well, Coach
So
Belichick could use a hand. That's just up the road. Why don't you go work for that
yeah,
guy?
yeah. So yeah, he's making 900 starting next year. I think it says here. So but it's just so much money. But the problem, what it's getting to is the problem is that you just get fired every 3 years. And it's just like a miserable, like you can be good at your job. Like the Falcons fired Raheem Morris. Their offensive line coach is fantastic, Dwayne Ledford. He's out of a job. Like you did your job, but you're fired. The whole staff gets fired. Now you have to grovel and hope your next coach gives you a job, but your family has to move again. I just can't do that. That's the part I just can't do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna join your cousin in this suggestion that you take this a little bit more seriously. In the meantime, though, let's talk about some of the coaches who were good decisions, who are doing a good job. So your boy Dan Lanning has things humming in Oregon. That was an ass kicking, but now he's up. Got a rematch against Indiana, who looked absolutely incredible against Alabama. I think anyone who is doubting them, and I'll put myself in that category, cannot do that any longer. Indiana's for real. Um, what do you make of that game? You a little nervous?
So there are injury rumors
Oh,
about some of our running backs not in their health in this game, which is not great.
oh boy.
Um, there's this is not me reporting this, so this is like Aaron Fentress reported this. That our running back Jordan Davison, number 0, our true freshman, who leads the team in touchdowns, broke his clavicle collarbone and will be out for this game.
Mm,
He did finish the game the other day. So, and then our 4th string running back, Jay Lamar, who played in the game for us last week, who was like running back 2 for us, is in the portal. So he's not going to play this week. So we're down to like 2 running backs, which is the portal. The timing of the portal in the playoff is just insane. Like Oregon is down. Our entire backup secondary went to the portal because our starters are freshmen. Like they're never going to play the backups. So if we lose one guy in the secondary, we're screwed. We lose a running back, we're screwed. Because the path to beating Indiana is running the football 35 to 40 times.
yeah.
Last in the game 1, Oregon ran the ball. I wrote it down. I read 20 times for 102 yards from the running backs. Now, Dante Moore added a bunch of sack yardage to make that number come down. They ran the ball fine, and the game plan has to be run the football against Indiana. Like that has to be the game plan. They're down. Indiana down 2 their defense tackles. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. You don't have any running backs, Gabe. You can't do that. So I'm kind of curious to see how that lines up. Look, I'll say this about Indiana, dude. A, they made Alabama quit, which is incredible. But 2, there's nothing like them in the history of college football. College football for a century has been won by primarily one type of team, right, Gabe? Do you have more professional football players on your team than the next team does? That's been the champion for 100 years now. And maybe there's one-offs like Auburn. Auburn was a one-off, right? Cam Newton and like Nick Fairley, like 2 pros on that team, but Cam Newton was so good that he overcame that, right? There are certainly outliers to that. For the most part, it's like the most 5 stars, the most 4 stars, that team wins. Indiana breaks the mold, Gabe, right? They have 1 high draft pick, Francisco Mendoza. That's 1. They have other pros on their team. The running backs, the wide receivers, maybe their tight end, one of their center, their left tackle, some guys on defense, but they don't have like this plethora of 4 and 5-star kids, Gabe, waiting to be drafted in the top 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Oregon has 6 guys in top 50 if they decide to come out. Indiana has 1. Like, and what they're doing is so remarkable. It's breaking the mold of what we have known to be winners in college football. And they're doing it with precision, with physicality. They make no mistakes, dude. They don't get penalized and don't turn the ball over. They don't have negative plays. Like it's a very, very hard team to beat. Now they've been close to being beat. Iowa almost beat them. Ohio State almost beat them. Penn State almost beat them. Oregon was tied in the 4th quarter. We have to play our best game of the season, Gabe, to beat them this weekend.
Okay. I've been around you a while. I know what you're up to. That's a bit of a reverse jinx. You're being overly complimentary of them to sort of.
No, I've said this on every show this week. I think it's be hard to beat them.
Can we talk about the fact that among all the other things you just said, what you didn't say, which strikes me as really bizarre, is that their backup quarterback is the younger brother of the quarterback. Like,
Well, yeah,
wait, has that ever
that
happened?
well, the sibling thing, they do that for recruiting purposes.
Okay, I know,
Like
but
like
like,
like or like Oregon has siblings, has had siblings all the time. Like it's the
sure,
backup of like
I
the
know.
third string running back is
Yeah,
like a
Giannis's whole
walk-on
family
linebacker.
tree is on the Bucks. I got
Yeah.
it.
His brother's just not as good as him, obviously. He's been those won the Heisman. Yeah, his backup's his brother.
I just think that that's a bizarre thing. Like his brother's going to go pro, and then presumably the quarterback of the team is also going to be a kid named Mendoza, right?
They brought in Josh Hoover from TCU.
Oh, they're
He'll
bringing
be
a new
quarterback
guy.
next year.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
his
all right.
brother's not as good as him. Yeah.
All right, so you're saying Oregon, you're not worried, but you could easily see
Oh, I
Indiana
mean,
winning this game.
we have to play a very clean on offense this year against the better teams we play, Texas Tech, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State. We weren't as clean offensively, so we have to be better offensively for that. But here's the thing about this game on Friday. So going back to January 1st, I thought Oregon had to win that game, Gabe. We had to win that game, and I'll tell you why. Um, Last year we lost to Ohio State on January 1st, got blown out. And everything you heard about this season and everything you've heard actually since that game was that the goal of this season was to get to January 1st and win the game on January 1st and then continue playing football, right? Like that was the entire goal of the season.
Mhm.
And in Lanning's fourth year, he's gotten better every year. So first year was like Holiday Bowl, second year was Pac-12 championship game loss, third year was Big Ten title game win, then a semifinal loss and a quarterfinal loss, and this year was a quarterfinal win into the semifinals. And we're going to bring back a lot of players to our team next year. Like, I think most of the guys that are draft eligible outside the tight end and maybe a defensive tackle. Like I think Dante Moore's coming back. I think they're going for it next season, and the team is going to be better next year. Indiana will not be better next season. They're just not. A lot of those JMU guys are going to leave. One thing we're seeing with college football too, Gabe, Michigan 23, Ohio State 24, Indiana 25, is they are old. They're older teams. So on offense right now, Indiana starters, all but one is at least in their fourth year of college football.
Wow.
On defense, they have two guys in second year and two guys in the third year. Otherwise, guys are in the fourth, fifth, or sixth year. It's an older team. Michigan did this. Ohio State did this. I think that's a sell for Oregon in the offseason. Hey, guys, like, let's bring it back and let's be the old team win a championship. Like, there's a chance next year Oregon's four defensive linemen, Gabe, are all 4 and 5 year guys. Like, that's what's winning nowadays. And so personally, I feel like it's a little house money right now. Like, of course, I want to win a championship, of course. But next year was supposed to be the year anyways. And if we can just grind our way through Indiana win, like win or lose, I feel like we're good for next year. I think Indiana probably feels like they got to do this now. Like
Yeah.
this is the year to do it. Ole Miss probably feels like let's do it now. Miami, they're a little older team, probably feels like let's do it now. Oregon, I think, has a chance. Again, I think we're going to be a close game anyways, but I feel a little comfortable that I think that we'll be back here next season.
Okay. You mentioned those other two teams, so let's go there. Uh,
What a game.
on the one hand, I feel like suddenly Ole Miss is like America's team if you like to be trolling, right? Like I found myself rooting for Ole Miss just because it's fun that Lane Kiffin's team could win without him. I don't particularly care about the team or the new coach, but screw him is kind of my feeling. I think a lot of people
Yes.
are with me on that. And then
Yes.
Miami is sort of positioned as an underdog in all of this, but the truth is, we're kind of where we thought they were at the beginning of the season. They took a bit of a detour early on, but they're right back where everyone predicted them to be. So are they in fact an underdog? Like, isn't Miami kind of just as good as all these teams
Well, I mean, they're the favorite though, but
in this game? But I'm saying by seed, they're sort of the
so
Cinderella story right now, but they're not.
um so Miami is in interesting spot this game particularly where they are now the favorite, right? Well, they were the underdog 2 straight games, but now
Yep.
they're supposed to win this game. They're in year 4 now, sort of same where Lanning's at. Mario and Lanning in the same boat, right? Year 4. This is the time to sort of get this done. Chambliss scares the heck out of me if you're a Miami fan. That he's incredibly talented and making a bunch of plays. I think Miami's better. I think Miami wins this game. I think they're better, and so Miami they'll get a home championship game. The championship game is in Miami, Gabe.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and they could easily find themselves in it. Um, so we'll do picks. You'll do some picks with Matt. We'll do some picks and deeper talk on each of those games as we get closer. Is there anything more on college? Because I want to throw a wacky theory at you.
Well, we are not going to be able to talk about Thursday's game, so that's the Miami
Oh, well,
Ole Miss
do you
game.
want to give me some
I just
smart
think
ways to play it?
yeah. So there are wagers out there you can find. I'm going to pull up right now to make sure I have the right one.
Get them, baby.
Where there's like total rushing, like team total rushes, so like combined rush yards of well, that's for just there's it was up the other day because Bear and I were looking at it. You can bet combined rushing yards for a team like Miami was at 140 to 150. Like I think Miami's total team rushing will be high. Like I would if it's not up right now when it pops back up again, which it will. Like Miami over team rushing would be a good wager in my opinion. Over 27 and a half points would be something I would consider as well. I think they're going to score an Ole Miss. Ole Miss defense is leaky. The way they're going to try to run the football makes me think that Miami can control the pace of game, control the clock. So I think that they'll bust out some late scores. I like Miami to just run the ball really well in this game.
Okay. Um, do you think that there's some idea to the Ole Miss sort of team rallying around Coach Golding or whatever? Like, does any of that fun storyline stuff matter on the field?
Not really.
Not really. And does any
Yeah.
of it matter that like as every day that goes by, and you mentioned the transfer portal, and like in a lot of teams' cases and even some players' cases, we're already thinking about next season. Does it matter that that whole coaching booth basically like is doing one job while they're getting
Well,
ready for the next?
Oregon has that problem, right? Both the
Okay.
coordinators are going to other jobs. I mean, I like to say it doesn't matter, but it probably does a little bit. Now, they're not trying to throw the game. I mean, I don't even know why I went there. They're not trying to like be any
No,
worse,
no.
but we know that part of their time is taken with the job at Cal in Kentucky or at LSU. Like that feels like very much human nature to straddle those is tough. Now, the one thing for Oregon that I think is helpful is that Dan Lanning did this at Georgia, right? He finished out
Right.
the season with Georgia, won a championship. So he's been in this boat before. He's been in a situation where he was the coach who had the new job and stayed back to to help his team win a championship.
Yeah. That's a great call out. I forgot about that. That's obviously the case. And it frankly like helped the lore of Dan Lanning. I think it helped him in year one for everyone to be like, this guy's serious about this. Like
I mean,
he's loyal.
imagine you're Tosh Lupoy and you're trying to recruit players to Cal right now. What better way is there to say we just shut out Texas Tech?
That's right.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's good for him. So it makes sense to do that. Landing off coach's defense, Stein got the offense. So I'm looking forward to it. Look, we've got a game Thursday, got a game Friday. And then of course we have NFL action. So a lot of football still left. And we have we have the bowl games now happening. Like I saw John Gruden installing like 93 ISO in the Hula Bowl. All these all-star bowl games are happening now too. It's got football from now until forever. It never ends, Gabe.
No, does not end. Do we have another break we need to sneak in? I feel like we
I
might.
think I think we do. Let's do one more.
Let's do the last break, and then I got a crazy theory I'm going to throw you.
Okay. All right, we're back. What do you got, Gabe? What crazy theory you got for me? I want to hear this.
All right, so I previewed this a little bit on our show text thread, but then I refined it slightly. I have a way I think I can help fix the NFL draft. You want to hear it?
Okay. Yes.
Would you agree that the problem is that whether players, you've told me many times, players don't tank. Players are out there competing every snap. They are in risk of losing their own job. They're not worried about next year's draft. Players are competing. But the front
Yes.
office, the coaching staff, the ownership, they're obviously doing a little bit of a different equation. And so when guys like Max Crosby sort of aren't available, even though he looked perfectly healthy and seems pissed not to be playing, or
Yes.
some knockoff brand backup quarterback for the Jets is playing instead of a perfectly capable Tyrod Taylor, when those types of things happen, it feels a bit like tanking. So I'm proposing that we need to change the incentives for teams that are clearly eliminated and looking for those top picks. How do you do it? What if from the moment you're eliminated from postseason play, however early in the season that can happen, usually can't be much before week 10, 11, 12, right?
Yeah.
From that moment on, the total number of wins that you accumulate in the regular season goes in standings, and the team with the most wins post their elimination gets the first pick. So you have to be real bad to be eligible for a lot of wins.
So the Atlanta Falcons would be like they're like 700, they're like 70%, I should say, after they get eliminated.
They've done a lot of winning in the last few weeks, except they weren't eliminated until very late in the season.
Atlanta was eliminated 5 weeks ago.
So then Atlanta, the moment that they were mathematically eliminated, every win they accumulate post that time,
I think they're 4-0. I think they're 4 or 5-0 if they were mathematically eliminated.
Yes. All right. So let me add one more caveat, because this is the way I calculated it and shared it. You're only eligible if you are one of the first 10 teams eliminated. So the fact that Atlanta was not one of those first 10 teams means that all this winning they've been doing would continue to screw them like it screwed them this season. Or we play with it. This is where I could use your notes.
So basically the idea is that once you're eliminated, then you have to try to win the most games.
The Raiders have to try to win, not give up the season.
So what's funny about that is that 4 of the worst 7 teams won last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns, the Commanders, the Giants, and the Raiders. I mean, so that would allow them to, like, they would play Max Crosby essentially for the last 2 weeks of the season, which is that you get all the best players on the field then.
You'd keep the good players on the field. You wouldn't do things like, let's try this out and see what happens. Maybe we have something with this Brady Cook guy.
So the only pushback I have is this, okay?
Yeah.
Is that if you are a lame duck coach, why do you give a shit about drafting as high as possible for a team you're not going to be on anymore? Like, why would you care to win these games for your team?
Good question, Jeff. I thought of that too. Bonuses, just like in the NBA Cup, you get a bonus if you win the NBA Cup. We're going to bonus you based on these draft rankings. So if you have a crap start to the season, just the team wasn't well built, you had bad luck, injuries, whatever it is. But now the last third of the season, you kind of get hot and you make some good decisions. A lot of bonus money available to you.
So, what would it be to the coach, to the players?
Well, I was thinking players, but screw it. Throw coaches in there too.
Yeah, I think coaches would be the ones who would want the money.
Sure. Well, I mean, $100,000 will mean a lot more to a coach than a player in most cases.
That means that your Jets would draft like 12 because they lost 5 games in a row in the season.
Yes, but arguably they could have won a few of those games if they weren't just mailing it in. And watching them mail it in is brutal.
Interesting.
Right? Like, obviously, we don't have to totally guess here. We know that if the Raiders had fielded the best team possible, if the Jets had fielded the best team possible, the line on a few of those late games would have been a lot closer than it was.
I agree with I agree with that idea. It's, Damashek always had the loser bowl, right? Like the last 2 teams play each other in the last game of the season to like it'd be this weekend. Like they play Thursday. Yep. Worst 2 teams play, and the winner of that game gets number 1 pick on the draft. Can you imagine like Jets Raiders playing out for Francisco Mendoza? It'd be incredible television.
Electric. It'd be great. That's been Damashek's idea for years. I love it. This is building on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Did you? I guess when it would be good to go back and see when they got eliminated and when. Back. Oh, you did. You saw it all. Okay, so who'd have the 1 seed? It would be Atlanta, probably, right?
No, because they were eliminated so late. So you're giving me a decent note. My theory was you just go first team eliminated is now eligible. Second team, third, until you get to 10 teams that have been eliminated, then the door closes.
So who would have had the first pick in the draft?
Well, so I think maybe some dork listening can double check me, because I'm not claiming I got all of this exactly right. I was just working with Google. My belief is the current draft order: Raiders, Jets, Cards, Titans, Giants, Browns, Commanders, Saints, Bengals, Chiefs. What it probably would have been, and you have to make a tiebreaker by winning percentage since eliminated would be the tiebreaker for total wins
Okay.
because you're getting down to 1 or 2 wins. I believe it would be Saints, Bengals, Giants, Browns, Commanders, Dolphins, Titans, Jets, Cardinals, Raiders.
Wow.
That said, if the Falcons were technically eliminated before one of those teams, which is maybe the case, then the Falcons probably move way up there. I don't think they were, though. I think they were after all these.
Interesting. I
And
would.
now let me just play a little further since you seem to be taking the bait. The Saints being at number 1, now that's fascinating because they just proved, at least to
Yeah.
themselves, that maybe
They
they have
would.
their quarterback.
Yeah, they would trade out in a heartbeat.
They'd
Yeah.
trade out. The Bengals don't need a quarterback. What are they going to do with that? But they played their butts off since Burrow came back. They won a few games. The Giants, I don't know. What are they doing? We're talking about that. The Browns got to do the Shador experiment, try to win, but also be okay with losing. I think it might have made a few of these teams more interesting down the stretch.
Um, this is actually quite interesting. I think I would entertain this.
Well, why don't you give it a little bit more thought, bat it around with some smarter people,
Did-
maybe do
did-
some
did-
DVOA analysis, whatever
Did
you like to do.
did you share? Did you tweet? Actually, end up tweeting this?
Yeah, I tweeted it to Elon Musk. Made sure absolutely no one saw it.
Yeah, I didn't. As I said, I didn't see it at all.
I think I probably tweeted it right in the middle of something important going on.
Here, I'm gonna retweet it for you.
Oh boy. Well, give it a read. Make sure you like it first. I don't want
No,
your mercy.
no, it's been retweeted.
Oh boy. Okay.
You
Well, now
tweeted-
I'll get your trolls.
I was probably already asleep. It was at 10 o'clock at night, just dead, knocked out. I fell asleep during the Ravens Steelers game with like remote in my hand. It was not just like just knocked out.
By the way, so did the Ravens. So,
Just completely asleep. Any last words here?
no, I'm looking forward to watching some college football later on my birthday. Actually, later this week,
Happy birthday!
thank you, buddy.
When's your birthday?
the 8th. And
Okay. We'll
and
get you a championship from the Ducks for your birthday.
please give me a win. I got a little on that one. Won big on Ole Miss the other day. Felt good.
Nice.
No, I'm happy for you, my friend. The 10U softball coach. I'm real proud of you.
Are you using the prediction markets now that they offer in California?
I'm not going to comment on that, given the nature of this show.
Well, DK has a prediction market in California.
I'm just saying I don't want to endorse anyone in particular, but
Like I just know
won
that
some
when I
money
go to
on Ole Miss.
California, when I go to California, I'm very excited to use the DK prediction market in California.
There you
I'm
go.
excited to try it out,
Yeah.
and because it should be legal everywhere, and I can't believe that this is the thing that like is accepted in the state, even though it's straight gambling. Like it's just so funny. The prediction market's fine, but gambling's not allowed. No. Prediction market's fine though, Gabe. I also would like to know next time that we strike a country so I can make money as well. Do you see that story, by the way?
I saw a lot of this story, and I think
Someone opened a Polymarket account and wagered on the U.S. striking Venezuela, and
did.
made a shit ton of money. And they think it was like, I mean, it's obviously it was someone inside the government because, they claimed it was because pizza. They have there's a theory that when pizza orders in D.C. spike at night, it's because the Pentagon is staying late to work on something that's happening overseas. And people then assume, they try to put two and two together, right? Where like the aircraft carriers were moved in a certain part of the country and just like, no, they knew that someone told them. It was very clear. Someone told them they were striking Venezuela. They opened up an account on Polymarket and they made like $400,000. That's insane. Shouldn't be allowed.
If true, completely insane, should not be allowed. Also, according to, I believe, Market Watch, and I don't know anything about their reputation. So
They're not paying it out, right?
one of the markets is not paying because of the word invade. Apparently, according to some, this was not an invasion of Venezuela. Therefore,
wasn't.
a bet on an invasion does not pay. And
Technically, it
there's
was
now-
not an invasion.
All right. Well, so you'd fit in nicely on the regulatory side.
I don't think it was an invasion. Not to get political. I mean, they invade? They took a family. They took two people out of the country. But the fact is, someone made $400,000 on this, which is
That's right.
The prediction markets are a problem. They're going to be a problem, but not my problem to deal with. All right.
Not our
I think we're
problem
done
at
here,
all.
Gabe. Not a problem at all. Not a problem to deal with. All right. Well, we'll talk to you on Friday with Matt. We'll preview, we'll recap Miami, Ole Miss. We'll make some wagers for the weekend, and we'll talk about Oregon, Indiana. So take care, guys. We'll talk to you guys then.